Chapter 20. Jovani dressed in his black clothing. Earlier he had decided to take a walk down Fifth Avenue. He wanted to window shop. After speaking to Mallory, he would put that off until another night. He had pressing business to tend to. He needed to speak to Sasha, and this time give her a stark warning of what she had to lose. It appeared she didn't heed the first warning. After this one, there wouldn't be another. And she would experience her last night. Getting a message to her by way of Taisia appeared to be more important. He found himself walking into her apartment building. Inform Taisia that I'm here to see her. And Jovani kept walking. But you can't go up there unless I contact her first, and you need to sign in and tell me who you are, sir, the woman said as she stood. She was a tall, heavy woman who appeared to have been in the police force, but she was no match for Jovani, and he knew it if she didn't. Jovani turned with his eyes flashing and said, "Tell her I am the last knight." He shot the security guard a warm smile. She will know what I mean. But I need a name to log in. I could lose my job. He stopped his stride to the elevators and with a generous smile said, "Jovani Nightingale." "Oh, Mr. Nightingale. I didn't recognize you with that beard. It becomes you. I wanted to thank you for giving me this job, and you take care of your employees very well, my daughter." He stepped into the elevator not because he was being impolite, but because he didn't have time to waste. He could have entered the witch's apartment by another means, but he didn't want to startle her. He didn't know what incantations or potions she would use on him if he surprised her. And he needed that time to think about how she fit into the disappearance of Hannah and Justin. Or she could have information leading to where. He didn't want to frighten the witch where she would cause Hannah harm before he had a chance to find out if Taisia was involved. But of course she was involved, but to what extent? The door opened when he stepped off the elevator. "Come in," Taisia said. She had invited him into his own place. The rest would be easy. Jovani stood looking around at the haze and the sick smell of burnt hair. "Are you still using the methods of old?" He walked and looked around, lowering his head to smell some of her concoctions. He exhaled. "I am experimenting with newer things. You know I'm a chemist by profession." "No, I did not. I thought you were a bitch by profession." "Sorry, I meant to say a witch," he said, breaking his dry look with an amused closed smile. As Jovani passed his hands along the counter, where Taisia had her potions in flasks and bowls, he stopped at one, reaching out to pick it up. "Don't touch that," Taisia cried out. "It's very important." Jovani turned with a jerk. "Why is it important?" he questioned, staring her in the eyes. She couldn't move, and she could only tell the truth when she didn't want to. "I'm creating a formula to help." Taisia tried not to speak, but Jovani willed her. "It's for Sasha. It will make her walk during the daylight hours. To find me and kill me. Is that what she's trying to do?" Taisia held her hand to her mouth, and Jovani reached for her hand and took it away. "I take that as a yes. The only way I won't kill you now is because you can be of some use to me. Tell me where Sasha is now, and is she plotting to kill me?" Taisia glared at Jovani, breathing loud. "She will kill me. I will kill you in the worst way. I don't kill women, but with you, I will make an exception. You have aided Sasha in some of the most heinous acts of a century. You have killed women and children for your own selfish, vile good. Why didn't you ask Sasha to turn you? Like that you could have remained young. At least you would have an excuse for your vile behavior. It was too late when I asked, and I had gotten old. So you continued this practice instead of finding another answer to old age. Aren't you a scientist? You could have found a better way in all these years. Why are you torturing my protégé, Jovani?" Jovani turned to see Sasha behind him. "You didn't hear me coming. Have you started a diet of animal blood instead of human blood?" "Of course you have. That's why you're losing your instincts, and you will soon lose your strength, all because you want children, and you want that girl, what's her name, Hannah. I thought you were still in Venice. I'm sure you did. But here I am. They all stood in a triangle, gazing at each other. I'm here to find out about Hannah and that werewolf, Sasha said, cutting Jovani's conversation short. She walked behind Taisia, who trembled. Sasha placed her hands on Tasia's shoulder and leaned and whispered in her ear. Tell my dear husband what you know. Justin took Hannah away to his ranch in Nevada, Taisia said. Her hands shaking. I need a glass of wine. You know the Samses, don't you? Or maybe you've heard of them. A pack of werewolves who control all of the Americas with their one pack, and their pack keeps growing. And imagine it started with one human. You know, she fucked those werewolf triplets and now all of them have sons, and they have sons, and the last one is Justin. If you go looking for him, I won't have to kill you, I'll just wait and they will do the job for me. Where is she now? Jovani yelled and furrowed his brow. For the first time, Sasha saw the anger of a male vampire she couldn't control. He had been the one who killed the old vampire, and the one least likely to die because of his ferocious and violent young nature. Of all the vampires she had set against the old vampire, Jovani was the one to succeed, and now gazing into his eyes she knew not to fuck with him, especially now. Jovani's hands moved with speed and wrapped around Sasha's neck. You will not kill me. You don't kill women, Sasha said to Jovani. You are no longer a woman. Now tell me where she is. Sasha's eyes opened wide with hatred and loathing for the woman who would claim the man she loved. She didn't blame Jovani. She would never, because she felt if she took all of the human women out of his life, then he would come back to her. She's with that werewolf. That's all I know, Sasha said. Jovani dropped his hands and walked to Taisia. What do you know? He said to Taisia, who sat with her legs curled in a fetal position after drinking a few glasses of wine. She looked up at Jovani standing over her and said, From the news and reports, the plane they were traveling in disappeared somewhere in Western Virginia. Jovani knew that place. He had traveled there for the game to satisfy his thirst for human blood. When Jovani turned to leave, Sasha smiled broadly and said, You didn't ask about Detective Mallory. I guess she doesn't mean that much to you. She means nothing to me. Then it won't affect you when I tell you that she's dead. Jovani walked quickly up to Sasha, facing her. How did she die? She had an accident. One that I caused. Don't worry. No one will come to your door. It seems that you were just a hobby, and she hoped to find a husband. You weren't a suspect. I took care of her, and eventually, I'll find Hannah, and if she has the misfortune to fuck you, then it won't be an accident. I will have changed her. Then you can fuck her at will, but she will be mine too. Not if I take care of you first. Right now I don't have the time, Jovani said with a hard, bitter, loud whisper. And he disappeared into thin air. When Jovani commanded his driver to get out the jeep for travel into the wilderness of Virginia, Hannah was looking out the window wondering what happened to Justin. The drops of heavy flakes had blanketed the ground more now than when Justin had left earlier. It was dark and getting cold in the large house. There were stoves that held wood to heat the place. She heard the sound of wolves in the distance when she climbed from under the covers to light the stove. She searched around for matches, but there were none,